Being streamed. Stuff. Double checking.
All right, looks like we are finally live.
Excellent.
Can anybody verify that? From my side, it says that we're live.
You are, but it says video unavailable on YouTube. It says it's listed as private right now.
Oh, what else can we deal with?
There it goes. All right, we got it. We're good. You're good.
Oh, we're good. There are days I love technology, and then there's the rest of the year. So, for those of you that were wondering what, so was I. Welcome to Triple T number 134. 134, July 23rd, 2024, coming to you live from Vegas. In case you were wondering, does that background look a little different than normal? Yes. In my room at the Sahara, and straight off of my amazing laptop, as you can see, the video is really sharp, straight on. So yes, it's not your eyesight. You don't need new glasses, and you're definitely on the correct channel. My name is TJ Zel. I like to refer to myself as a professional problem solver, which I always follow up with, no, I don't know everything. I just have a unique way of asking lots of questions to help people find the solutions they are looking for. I do have a website, thetswb.com, the tall skinny white boy.com. That's what it stands for. I don't care what else you find on the internet. Don't go searching. You won't like it. I didn't either. What else? I give a free 30-minute consultation. That is your opportunity to ask me anything. Spend some time. If you want to chit-chat, that's your option. But if you've got something that you would like changed in your life, I help people with depression, anxiety, phobias, PTSD, money challenges. Relationships have been huge. In fact, that's what I spoke on here at HypnoThoughtsLive this year. And I offer corporate coaching. I work with athletes from beginner all the way up to the pro level. And if I didn't say what you're looking for on that really quick list, call me up, ask me anyway, because chances are I can help you some way, somehow. And if I can't, I can probably find you somebody who would or who is capable. And that being said, I will also make it very clear. If I can help you, I will let you know. If I can't help you, I promise you I will not try and just sell you something you don't need. I will help you find somebody that's the proper fit. The tie of the week, I forgot to bring one that I haven't showcased. So my absolute most famous, fabulous, everybody has seen this for years and years, had it for a long time. It has traveled all over the world. Got a little poo on my tie, and I'm okay with that. What else we got? Any news anybody wants to share about their last 7 days since we got together? Ahas, epiphanies?
I got to speak at HypnoThoughts, and it was absolutely spectacular and so much fun. And next time, I'm definitely going to be staying longer than 2 days.
Yeah, 2 days at HypnoThoughts goes by in about as fast as you can sneeze. So yeah, even a number of us were talking at the presenters party, and the theme was pretty common, like, wow, that went really fast. Anybody else before we jump into the one big topic for the night? I've also decided that in order to help everybody, from this point on, I'm going to have people start typing in questions and topics into the chat room so that when we hit hour number 2, we don't invest 10 minutes of polite chipmunk. And I'll let the people on the call decide which question or topic they would like to pick up if they haven't put one in there themselves, or if you did put one in there but you see a question or topic from somebody else, you can call them out quick, or else if we get silence, then I can call people out quick. Just saying. Diving in, I was sitting there trying to figure out how I was going to do this, and I had contemplated having a couple of different topics from the weekend. But what I thought I would do is, I've got my handy dandy journal with all of my notes and stuff in it, and I thought that I might just highlight some of the talks that I went to, who gave the talk, and what my favorite takeaway was from them. First one in my list that I saw was Tommy V at TommyV.com. And some of my takeaways on his were the difference between mentalism and magic acts. And a lot of people might accuse us of doing magic. I've been accused of worse. But one of the cool things he said was visualize before you go up there that the show is going great. And I thought that was a great tip for anything, whether it's performing on stage or going to work, dealing with humans in their natural environment. All the above, I think too many people, as a default, will automatically think of all the worst ways it can go, instead of visualizing the end product to be amazing, how great it went, all the above. And it's very important. That's why I'm constantly working with clients and students on best case scenario thinking, future pacing, whether you believe in it or not. Everything about visualizing an outcome is future pacing. And I know plenty of people, oh, it's going to be so bad. You're future pacing. I'm never going to win this contest. That's future pacing. Lenora.
So I had a really big aha, and these ahas, like, they continue to expand as we experience them. Hi, Mo, I just saw you got on.
Hey, Mo.
They continue to expand, and I absolutely love that, because the more work that we do in getting to know ourselves and getting to recognize our own thought patterns, the better it gets, which is phenomenal. And one of them in particular is, I know a lot of the time you mention, and people within our Triple T group mention, hi, Nancy. And it is 3 solutions or 3 possibilities. What else might it be? So, for example, I was supposed to get on the flight on Friday morning, and there was my 6 a.m. flight, and I was there at 5:30, already at the gate, ready to rumble. I had already gotten my chocolate and everything for my, yes, I eat chocolate at 5:30 in the morning. I already had gotten everything, and I get a text alert, and it says your flight's canceled. That can't be right. This was crazy. And the first person, as it says, like, go see the flight person, the person that was working for the airline had said, there's been a cyber attack. Nobody's going anywhere. No flights are going out. No flights are going in. And my brain went immediately to panic, like, crash, There was no pause and possibly, collect $200 if you're going around. There was nothing. I went immediately straight to jail and it was awful. And in that, even looking back, I'm thinking, what else could I have done in that moment? Rather than thinking the worst case scenario, which in my head was total mayhem, total mayhem. Nobody was getting out. I was going to get stuck at the airport for days on end, and I wouldn't be able to get home in any way, shape, or form, much less get to where I was going. Hindsight now being, okay, what's the next thing that I need to do right now? Maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. What might else it be? Maybe the person that I don't know at all and I'm immediately trusting has all the information in the world and is the absolute answer to the situation. Maybe they don't have all the answers. Maybe something else is going on. Maybe he's just as littly informed as I am. So even in that, being able to stay calm in those moments, that was not a moment I did very well. I literally burst into tears. So my point is, what else might it be? And when we get to that immediate worst case scenario, before noticing it and then going, okay, what else might it be? Immediately go 3 other things. What else might it be? Maybe he's misinformed. Maybe I misunderstood something. Maybe it's a glitch and something else is going on. Those are my thoughts on the 3 possibilities of what else is happening. So we don't always have to go to worst case scenario.
And I'm so glad you shared that, because there were a lot of people here who went through the same scenario. And I've been in that scenario before. And of course, I'm the crazy one apparently, because I'm like, all right, it'll work out. Everybody else is up there screaming at the people at the desk who are like, I'm just here collecting a check. And believe me, if I could put your butt on a plane to get you out my face, there would be plane after plane. I couldn't get you on there fast enough. Can't do it. Can't do nothing. And even our beloved Holly got stuck in the airport. Her flight was completely canceled. And she was talking about how bad it was. But after I got her settled down a little bit, then she told me about the people that she met in line and the conversations they had and how cool they were. And I said, yeah, it was as bad as you make it, and it was as good as you make it, because time passed anyway. A lot of people have heard me say, I stress over things. I choose as much as possible to not stress over things that I have zero control over. Do I like it when the price of gas goes up? No. Do I have complete control over it? Can I go to the powers to be and go, that's enough. Price down. $1.50 a gallon. I said so. No. Trust me, if I had that power, you all will know the second it happens. I promise. Do I like paying what we've been paying the last couple of years? No. But it is what it is. I got other things I can worry about. Any other, Mark?
I was obviously going through some stuff the last 2 weeks. And, again, I had very little control, felt very out of control. But, I, dealt with the mountain of stress, the what ifs. And, I embraced just, again, just interacting with the people around me, being playful, saying something that, and it's Dr. David saying, people will always remember how you made them feel. And what I found was, you look around, when you hit that moment of, like, you feel that out of control, and it's like, okay, who can I help? Look around. You did it with Holly. You did it with other people, you know, and, I made people feel a little better. I cracked a joke. I got some people laughing, and, even the doctors, and they always remembered me, and in a lot of cases went the extra mile because they remembered how I made them feel, even though I was going through something and I was dealing with that mountain on, like Atlas, holding up the world. But the phenomena of just, just making them feel a little better, just connecting to them, and, um, like I said, the nurses were amazing. The doctors were great, but, I made it my mission to just make them all feel a little better.
Yes.
So, and they all remembered me, and all, like I said, in a lot of cases, they went the extra mile, even the doctor. So it works, again, when you're working with humans, they always respond to how you make them feel. So so when you reach that moment when, Lenora, like you feel out of control, you just gotta look around for someone that you can make feel a little better. And you might probably ended up, TJ, with having like a little hypno thoughts, right there in the airport with everyone. A mini hypno thoughts, Okay, guys, let's get together. Let's get the energy right, whatever. So, again, that's my 2 cents worth, and that was my experience. And after 2 weeks, like, people were recognizing me as I'm walking through the hospital. Like, hey, the nurse from critical care came. Hey, how's Dottie? How you doing, Mark? Because they all remembered me. They remembered how I made them feel.
Yeah,
So
very much so.
it's a good response when you're feeling out of control, is to go around, look around for somebody else that you can help.
And that's it right there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny when you brought that up. It reminded me when I recently had surgery on both legs, and I was laying in there, and the staff couldn't really believe that I was able to crack as many jokes as I did and lighten up and have them watch their language and all the above. And I'm like, time's going to pass anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Am I feeling great? Am I ready to go do a tap dance? No, I I'm very uncomfortable. But when I laugh for a bit, I forget about the pain. And if I can teach, which is one of my absolute prime passions, that helps me not worry about the stuff that I have no control over. And so you're, like you said, try and help others. It will definitely help because, again, time's going to pass regardless if you are making it bad or if you're making it good. Both are right there. Going back to the notes, see what else I got here. Um, Keeping things um, easy versus simple. And that was another one where sometimes we forget about trying to keep things simple. Even if it's not easy, some people have this tendency to easily overcomplicate things. And when you get them to finally boil it down to the lowest common denominator, all of a sudden they're like, wow, that's it? Yeah, if you didn't try to complicate it to a point where your brain starts freezing up, it's much easier to handle. Go into the micro versus the macro, or vice versa, whichever one allows you to see things in its simpler form. You can always add extra steps just to get it convoluted, but and let's see what else here. No, I didn't lock up. I just got out of a class. I was taking a class and got up here, and I apologize. I should have done a side bullet list of the things I want to talk about.
Was it keep things easy or keep things simple?
Simple. Simple allows it to be easy, but sometimes people think that they're making it easy with 37 steps. Whereas if they could look at the 37 steps and turn it into 10 steps, now it's simple. And I didn't realize I'd, oh, that was from Albert Nuremberg. Back to Tommy V. Anytime you are prepping for a talk, this was a great takeaway. One, your main rule is to entertain. There are so many people that want to convey information, but unfortunately do it in such a, I'm going to say, scientific data way that the people they're trying to share the information with check out all too quick. Remember, the main rule is to entertain. If you can, even if you're not going to be on stage, it wouldn't hurt to even find a YouTube video about a stage training class, which I also teach. So if any of you have any presenting from class or things of that nature, reach out. I actually gave tips to 3 or 4 different presenters while we were here to try and help them out. And another one from Tommy V is when you're practicing your talk, as many people do, practice it in I'm going to call it opposite conditions. Practice it talking fast, then talking slow. Soft, loud. Practice stopping mid-sentence and then starting again. Be in the middle of it also, just stop, count to 10, and then pick it back up. What you're going to find out is this is going to prep you for actually speaking in front of humans in their natural environment, because sure enough, there will be certain things where all of a sudden you realize that you're on bullet point number 3 out of 12, and you've used up 70% of your time, or vice versa. And if your talk, as many are, is timed, getting used to how to speed up, slow down, transition. Somebody's going to raise their hand. There might be a group next door that are making 10 times the amount of noise that they should. And so you're going to have to deal with those types of things, and practicing your talk with stops and starts, volume changes. One of the things here at the Sahara is we were not allowed to have sound systems. So, you got some speakers like, lovely older ladies who have that wonderful grandma voice that travels about 1.5 feet out of their mouth, trying to speak to a very large room with a group of crazies having fun in the room next door. And I felt terrible for them because I knew that a good portion of their talk was missed. people couldn't hear them. You also had some speakers whose voices are strained from other things in their past. And for them to try and speak loud for any amount of extended periods really thrashes their throat. So there were people here that absolutely should have had sound systems. I myself probably, I'm one of the speakers that's not a problem because I know how to project to the back and have fun with it, doing a little edutainment. So on back to Albert Nuremberg. I'm going to try and get in as much of these as possible. His was amazing, movie therapy. And he had been a movie maker, and life happened, and he realized that he needed to get out of the industry. And so he went into our industry, but took all of his movie making skills and metaphors into the work that we do and allowed people to understand that you have the ability to make your life, see your life as a movie. Now, if you're in the movie theater and you're watching the movie and you're going, this movie sucks. The plot is, the actor is, and you know that you're not in a quadruplex, you're in a movie theater with about 3,000 different movies to choose from. Would you sit in that boring movie to the very end to see how it ended? A lot of people do. I hate my life. Change it. Well, it might get better. What are you doing about it? I'm sitting here watching it. How long you been watching it? Oh, about 40 years. Has it gotten any better? No, not really. Kind of sucks. Do you know anybody who's watching a better movie? Yeah, my neighbor. Yeah, they're really cool. Love them. They do all sorts of stuff. He just goes out and he travels and he's got a great job and he's always talking about how much he loves his life. Why don't you try his movie? That's really not me. I'm trying to see how this one ends. Hate to break it to you, you've been watching it for 40 years. Probably going to end kind of like it's been the last 10, 20 years. That could be wrong. But when you start breaking down some of the movies and looking at, one of the things he pointed out is a lot of people who are dealing with PTSD will describe their movie as being in black and white. Lack of color. And confused about the plot. A lot of it's fear-focused. If you ask them, so what do you think the next 3 or 4 scenes are going to be like? Yeah, they're probably going to suck. In the next scene, if this person goes to the casino with $100, how much do you think they're going to take home? Probably a negative 200. You know, because you got to eat. What else we got? Oh, predictive catastrophe, along with self-sabotage and bad narration, I thought was an amazing insight as well. If you had a narrator, how many have seen those movies and she thought she was going to go to the movies, but she was not? And you hear all the narration? He described bad narration as self-talk, limiting self-talk, negative self-talk. And again, if you're watching a movie and the narrator is always negative, maybe has some scratchy, whiny Nurse Cratchet voice, how long would you want to watch that movie? And when he talked about predictive catastrophe, he pointed out that, did you guys know a lot of people get a dopamine hit, whether it's good or bad, because in their mind they were right? Something bad happens and they're like, see, told you it was gonna suck. See, told you I wasn't gonna win anything. And they get the dopamine hit because they were right. Just like the same people that, look, I picked the numbers and I won. Dopamine hit. Unfortunately, it's the same dopamine hit. So which one would you rather get your dopamine from? Another good point. Thank you, Elijah. Dopamine hit comes from the pursuit, not the result. Yes. Comes from the pursuit, not the result. And if you predicted and your prediction came true, dopamine. Let's see what else. Oh, here's a good one. Remember, sometimes people are not even the stars of their own movie. Especially when dealing with stuff like jealousy. Oh, Lenore had a comment.
Stars of their own movie. There's one of my favorite romantic comedies is a movie called The Holiday, and it came out so long ago. And it's with Kate Winslet, Jude Law, Cameron Diaz, and a very, very funny actor. His name is Jack Black, I think. Very funny actor. And in this movie, she's talking about that see, Elijah, it's such a good movie, right? That she's very teary-eyed over a breakup of some sort, and one of the characters points out that she's not the leading lady of her life, and that you should be the leading lady of your life. So when you had said that, I kind of lit up, making me think of that you should be the lead actor of your life.
Yeah. And so many people put the spotlight on everybody around them and wonder why they're like, my life sucks. Well, if you're not the lead, yeah. But the other part he pointed out is when you're dealing with jealousy, that makes the other people the star of your movie. You are focusing your attention, you're focusing the spotlight, the camera lens on somebody else. And the vast majority of the time, they don't know and they don't care because they're in their own movie. The toxic victimhood movie where it's always somebody else's fault, always blaming others. I think we've met a few people like that. It's not my fault that I was late. It was everybody on the road. Really? Think it could have been the fact that you left the house 5 minutes late? It wasn't my fault. I didn't turn on the TV. No, but you watched. Well, it was, I had to see how it finished. And some people just simply default to a bad movie. And it could be all sorts of things. It can be how they were raised, who they hang out with, or who they hang out with, family influence. Let's see. Ways to change the channel, help change the channel. Realizing that a lot of the channel control is going to happen first thing in the morning. When I often describe it as just before you open your eyes, when you realize that your eyes are still closed, but you understand they're about to open, you get to decide what kind of movie you're going to make for the day. And one of the phrases that he used, he gave the credit to his wife, and he calls it wulping. WULPING. WULPHING. Wolfing, I'm sorry, wolfing. WULPHING, which is wake up laughing. And he said for his clients who are suffering from the default bad movie that they can't seem to redirect, before you even sit up, before you decide anything else, give yourself a 3-stage laugh. And so you just start out with 3 sets of 3 laughs, building in intensity. And if you share your bed with somebody, you might want to prepare them first or not. But he says that when he wakes up, he will roll over on his back and just go, ha, 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 ha. Deep breath in. Ha, 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 ha. Another deep breath in. Ha, 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 ha. What am I going to do today? And then sit up and think about what it is you want to accomplish with the day. And keep a smile on your face. Even for those of us who sometimes wake up, whether it was leg day the day before or arm day the day before, and certain parts of our body going, you remember what you did yesterday? You suck, and I'm going to remind you for a while. Laugh it off, which is one of the things he talked about, is why does that expression even exist? Because of the power of laughter and the ability to take certain energies and laugh them out. And I didn't realize how much I'd done this in my life until I remembered the amount of times that I've gotten in trouble by people that didn't understand when something bad happened, and I started nervously laughing instead of crying or getting angry. What are you laughing about? This is serious. I'm like, no shit, it's serious. Look at the condition of that car. But I can either laugh or I can cry, but I know which one gives me better energy to take care of the situation. And so maybe, just as a experiment, as a test, try it out for 3, 4, 5 days. Soon as you realize that you're about to get your eyes open, before you sit up and look at the clock and go, "Ugh, I just feel like I just went to sleep 5 minutes ago. This day sucks already. Give me coffee. Nobody speak to me. I will punch your ass. I just need my coffee." And if you're, Mike, if your dogs may freak out, start doing the 3-set laugh around them more often, even during the day. Trust me, even when you're driving and you're in traffic that makes you want to put twin 50 caliber machine guns on the front and go, "Get out of the way!" Time's going to pass anyway. You can sit there and get revving mad about what you can't control, or you can laugh it off. Okay, first page flipped over. Script change. Script change. This is a good one for you guys to, when it's time for a script change, like I talked about, when you realize that you've been watching a really boring movie for 40 years of your life and it's your movie. First, relax. Different ways you can relax is envision the smell of coffee. Whether you drink coffee or what, we've all walked past the coffee shops, even $5, and there's something about that smell. And imagine what it's going to be like, what that new script, that new movie might be. And Elijah beat me to step number 2. Learn to control your breath, your breathing. And there may be some of you out there that realize that I started off Triple T tonight with some technical difficulties and didn't even get to say, "Hi, Mom, from Vegas." I didn't forget. I forgot, but I remembered. Back to breathing. State change. There are lots of videos, lots of different techniques for breathing. And yes, there are some people out there, as I was going to say the first time, going, you really need to learn how to breathe. I mean, I just go, there. See, I've been breathing since the second the doctor smacked my butt when I was born. You've been breathing autonomically, but breath and blink rates are 2 of the things that we can do autonomically and can control consciously. Breath will affect mood and a lot more other things in your body and in your thought processes than even I thought. I will admit, when I first heard the concept of learning how to breathe properly, I was like, okay. So look into that. Another one is to stand up as straight as possible. When I had my photography studio, I always said, try to get the very top hair on your head as far away from the bottom of your feet as possible. It's amazing how tall people can actually be when they stand up straight. But when you do that, stand up very straight and then look up. And not just like this, but even if you just elevate your chin just a little bit and then try to see how far up above you can, and look that way for a while, it actually changes your thought process. Don't believe me? Give it a try. Another one that he talked about was get artistic. And even if you're not an artist, learn how to start describing things in bright colors. A lot of people dealing with depression and anxiety, if you have them try to describe a field of flowers, it sadly takes, and I've done this before, it sadly takes them quite an amount of time to even tell you what color the flowers are. I don't know, yellow. What kind of yellow? Well, I don't know, like banana yellow, like stoplight yellow, like almost orangish yellow. Especially the dudes. The dudes are like, dude, yellow, until you get a motorhead. Then you're like, well, is it like Corvette yellow? Or, oh, yeah, Corvette yellow. Because motorhead dudes know what Corvette yellow is. Bluish yellow, yeah. But then you ladies are much better at this because you have to decide if the fuchsia actually goes along with the seafoam green that matches your shoes that have that little bit of stripe. And then women can look at lipstick and us guys go, yeah, the red one. Well, yeah, but and you're like, oh, you got 37 red ones. Yeah, but they're not all red. Like this one has a little bit of rose in it. Okay. What else we got? Leave the tight places. Take a walk. One thing about taking a walk that he pointed out that I thought was very interesting was when you're walking, your eyes, as they're scanning the environment, actually replicate what they do in REM state, in REM sleep. And so when you think about it, that's why a lot of people are told, get outdoors, get out, take a walk. And yes, I'm from Minnesota, so those of you in the Northland, you know who I'm talking to, even in the wintertime. It's what clothing is for. I know, I've had to work outside in 40 below. Keep moving. But in the walking, getting out of your house, out of that environment, allows your mind to do the scan, to pick up different things and notice different things. Another one, face your demons. That statement sounds very easy. For those of you that find it challenging, please reach out to one of us. I've had to help people face demons in some of the most interesting locations. fact, just yesterday, I had to help a person who was having an abreaction in the elevator. Because I just seem to bring that out in the best of people, or actually, I think it's more just the universe goes, we've got a person who needs your skills over here. And anytime, anywhere, any place. Thank you, Dr. David Snyder. I've even had to do it driving down the freeway, 70 miles an hour, no shoulder. And I could have let them lie to me and tuck it back in and pretend that everything was okay. But instead, we called out the demon and got it taken care of before we even got to the next exit. Another one that I liked, allow yourself to understand you can put in a plot twist. Meaning, you can decide, I don't like this. I want to change. And decide a pattern interrupt. We can get into that later. Apply special effects. That could even be clothing. Choose your movie. I think we've all been around enough now that we've seen more than 3 movies. Find a movie that interests you. What about it would you like in your life, and how can you implement that? You got the hero's journey to take action, adventure movies, happy ever after. Aww. The Hallmark movies. Oh, George, this is beautiful. Thank you for the picket fence. Batman, yes. Elijah, you'd make a really good person in Batman. You could do Batman. Tell yourself that you're going to have a really good surprise ending. Elijah, I could see you doing the Riddler. Yes, you could. Yes, very much so. Laugh as much as possible. Laugh as much as possible. In case you didn't hear me, laugh as much as possible. Those who hang around me know. I laugh as much as possible. I try to entertain as much as possible. I try my darndest to get people to laugh as much as possible. Because the medicine in laughter has been proven. Even in Western medicine, as much as they hate the fact that it didn't get put into a pill form, but they'll probably be able to give you a pill for that. You don't need it. There are so many different ways to allow yourself to enjoy good humor. And in the end, you are the hero of your own story. And you are how you act, because you are acting. It is your movie. You are the leading role, the director, the writer, the editor. You get to decide what kind of movie you're in. You get to decide how hard it's going to be. You get to decide who's in it. Tribe? I think I've talked about this once or twice. And Elijah's got his hand up.
Yeah, I just want to say you actually are acting, whether you know it or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you are different when you're with your parents than you are when you're with your best friend.
Yep.
And you are different with your best friend than you would be if you were in a job interview. And I can, add infinitum, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're different in different contexts already anyway. So just understand that you are acting. So who do you want to be right now?
And I've been challenged on that theory so many times. And I've told him, I said, so what you're telling me is you're the same person Saturday night during happy hour as you are Sunday morning in front of the priest. Because I've seen you Saturday night at happy hour. I used to bartend. I'm calling, no. And so, yes, thank you for bringing that up, Elijah, because yes, you are acting, you have different personas, many of them. And just like that, out of all these different pages I've got left, I only covered 2.5 pages. That was HypnoThoughts this year for me. And we're on to hour number 2, which means it's time for you guys to take over the show.
That was TJ stealing ideas from HypnoThoughts like a true artist.
Oh no, I gave credit, so it's research now. I get to call it.
Okay, well then I at least steal like an artist.
For those of you that are watching for the very first time or watching this recording for the first time, thank you so much for joining us. The way this works, I didn't announce this in the beginning. For the first hour, usually I have 3 topics that I do my best to get through. And then the second hour is open mic, open platform. Anybody on the call can bring up a question or a topic. And that's why we invite you to come join us. You don't even have to know how to spell NLP. And then I have everybody on the call answer first because I like to learn as well. And if there's anything left over that I think I can add to it, then I will add my 2 centavos. So, starting off hour number 2, I did not see or did not notice, in case I missed, the questions being typed into the chat. So, who's got a question or a topic to start us off? And this is why we're going to start putting questions in the chat. Yes, Lenora.
So since everybody's on the roll of humor, I have a question. As some of you may know, or some of you may not know, I tend to be a little sensitive, and I don't care for humor in certain areas, especially when we're talking about things that are very personal to me. And especially when we're covering a variety of things like anything that goes on in my head, how do we make it funny without making it hurtful? Because I immediately go to personal and I immediately take it personally when people are trying to integrate humor, and I don't like it, especially into a type of therapy session or a type of session of any kind. What are your thoughts?
Great question. Who's got an answer for her? Bueller? Nobody's got an answer?
We can come back to it. Mark had a good question.
Mark.
How do you incorporate humor? Well, again, start out by telling a story, and if it's a personal story, you you can bring the humor, things that you didn't know, things life lessons get out, but humor is one from story, and that's you didn't know what you didn't know before you were doing all this, and some of your own mistakes, to be able to laugh at them, bring humor into the, you know, into the, you know, into the conversation and into the treatment. You know, sometimes telling us, you know, starting out with a story, you know, a personal story, or you know, that you can introduce humor in that way.
Thank you, Mark.
Welcome.
Who else has an answer for?
Elijah put a picture in here that said that he wrote at the train station last Tuesday, and it says, "Stop taking yourself so seriously. Seriously. Seriousness is a mind killer, and I'm serious about that. Being serious cuts you off from creativity. It prevents you from getting inspired. So today, let's all be a little more playful and have some fun. Have yourself a wicked day, you magnificent beast."
Yes, absolutely.
So, for example, if go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
If I had shared something and somebody goes, "Well, what'd you do that for?" I don't care for that. I'm very tone sensitive. So wrapping it in a story is a helpful thing. But I think one thing that I have found helpful is, in whether it's working with a client or somebody's working with me, is to get on the same team as me. And if it feels like somebody else is coming at me, that I don't care for. That's the
How would
only
you
other
know
thing
if
that I
someone
can
was
think
coming
of.
at
Because if they were like, "Well, what'd you do that for?" It's like, well, no shit. Thank you for saying, "Well, what'd you do that for?"
What's
So
the
I don't.
sensation?
What's the sensation?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
When
Like when
somebody
somebody
says
says
something like that, what's the sensation you feel inside your body?
shame?
Wait. Shame is a sensation?
It feels very uncomfortable, and the feeling that comes up is shame.
Right. That's it. Okay, so sorry to be a real stickler. Okay. But what you just said in answer to my question was a description of a sensation, not the sensation itself. Where do you feel
Okay.
it? And what is it that you feel? What's the sensation, the physical sensation?
Okay. So what comes up when somebody says something like that?
When somebody says something like that, inside of yourself,
Yes.
feel something.
Mm-hmm.
Where and what do you feel?
Oh, I know where and what I feel.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And that feeling,
Mm-hmm.
the first time you felt it
Okay.
was most likely
Mm-hmm.
an intention with it that, it's going to either, I don't like it because whatever, right? I don't want to mind read or put or front load you or
Mm-hmm.
anything, but there will be a reason either that you get something positive out of it or that it protects you somehow for
Mm-hmm.
that particular sensation that will help you divert away from something that is unpleasant. Right?
That will help divert away from something that is unpleasant.
The situation. The feeling that someone's coming at you with that tone. What do you do that for? You know what I mean?
Yes. So I'm just trying to figure out what the first stop is, the feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and that's protecting from something else.
Don't worry about that part.
Okay.
That's
So the
just me
first stop is the
explaining to you,
feeling.
right? And that feeling had a purpose.
The feeling of the first one, the feeling of feeling like somebody's making fun of you or shame.
Is that what they were doing? Were they making fun of you?
I'm just trying to follow your thoughts, but yes,
Actually, I'm trying to follow
that's the
yours, to be honest, but this seems to be going a bit stray. To be okay, now what's happening right now as you are laughing? What's happening right now to that feeling?
Well,
you weren't
you made
feeling.
me laugh because you were getting confused too as I
Okay,
was trying
but
to
I thought
figure
you
out
said
what
you
you
didn't like humor when it comes to therapy and change work. But
when
you were laughing
what
just now.
but hold on. I do, but when it feels like they're making fun of me in the situation.
I
Like,
wasn't
well,
making
what'd
fun
you
of you
do
just
that
now.
for? Well, you just said that you were getting confused. So when you said
Oh, I
that,
was
I did
making
not
fun
say,
with
hold
you
on,
just now.
I'm dissecting it. I can't dissect it and analyze it and follow it and be the patient and the driver and the person at the same time and stop for a
That's
soda.
right. And so what's it much easier to do than all of
I'm
that at
trying
once?
to analyze it because I'm not going to cry on camera. That was last week. That's not this week. Together.
No, you're gonna laugh on camera. But you already did that. We achieved it already.
Yes.
Right. So how do you
Okay.
feel right now? If I say, well, would you go and laugh like that for?
Well, see, notice your tone.
Uh-huh.
I said I was very tone sensitive.
Uh-huh. And what just happened?
You had a better tone. When you had a better tone, you had a better energy. So it comes out as if you're on the person's team versus pointing the finger at the person that's coming with the problem.
You know, when you point a finger at someone, you're pointing three back at yourself.
You are. Agreed.
And what's happening right now?
I'm hearing another noise on somebody else's camera.
Oh, that could be my fan. I'm
It
sorry.
might be your fan. You're okay. I still like you.
Let me how's that?
You're good.
Not that great. We're sorry, Mike.
In fairness, Mike, this is Elijah, so it could also be a tactic where he's using his environment
Could
to
also
be
be.
distractive and
Okay.
humorous.
Okay. You know what I don't like? I don't like when people insinuate I'm doing stuff when I'm clearly just trying to be curious.
That's never happened before.
What, me trying to do stuff? No, I don't try and
No,
do,
no,
you know?
you and I both. I know what you're doing.
I mean, it works better that way.
Yes.
If you know what I'm doing, it actually works better,
Yeah.
you know? So if we just can we just time out for a sec? I'm
Time
sorry.
out.
I'm sorry that it ended up this way, TJ. I apologize. I was trying to do something really quick, but you know, she insists on analyzing, so we have to make sure she gets it properly, right?
You can't tell,
When
but
you
if you
think
were
about
here,
it
I'd be flicking a
now,
rubber band at you.
oh, I would totally Matrix style dodge it in slow motion, right? So now, when you think about someone saying something in a quote unpleasant tone, end quote,
Mm-hmm.
during some kind of change work or therapy session, because I think that was the
Mm-hmm.
context, right? So,
Yes.
how do you feel about it now? Like now?
Oh, I still don't like it. No.
Hmm.
But you and I
Okay.
also have rapport.
We will fix that for you very shortly. Okay. But I don't want to take too much time on this call right now. But I
All
promise
right.
that will be fixed within the next few days if you
Okay.
want.
All right. Thank you.
Right.
My two centavos.
Always. It's part of that's part of our too. People offer and then you offer.
Yes. I think in situations like this, if this was something that a person might want to change,
Mm-hmm.
I would go back to find out if it's connected to insecurities, which a lot of
Okay.
times it is,
Okay.
past programming, and who at one point or another maliciously made fun of them.
Okay.
because oftentimes I've found that those interpretations are a result of, especially friends and family, because they have our best interest in mind when we're children. No, kids are little nasty punks. I remember, because I got punked a number of times in school, even by my best friend. But I've decided that I want to live in 2024. And they were just being who they are, who they were. And I use humor in my therapy as much as possible. And my clients tend to go on a roller coaster ride of all sorts of funky emotions, and some of the ways that I pull them out of the deep dark once we clean up is to use some humor to get them laughing and back to present, back to the current time. So a lot of it will depend on, as you pointed out, the tone, the amount of rapport, what it was meant to do. There is some comedy that is very dark, very attacking. I'm sure we've all witnessed that in some shape, way, or form growing up. So I'm not sure if I've fully answered.
Everyone had helpful insights. Thank you.
Yep.
Mark had a question in here.
Yes. Where's Mark? What was the question back here?
It was about remote healing, and anybody have ever gone down that rabbit hole, and what were your experiences trying to do remote healing with permission on people?
Great topic. Great question. Who's got an answer for Mark?
I've heard of surrogate healing also. And one of them that was very, very helpful to me that I go back to very often is seeing that person and passing a ball of light back and forth to them of love, of healing, whatever it is that you want them to receive, and passing the ball of light almost as if it's floating back and forth from them to you, and having that and sitting there for a bit of time doing that and letting yourself really feel into that, but also watching how they feel into that.
Great answer.
Cool.
Who else has an answer for Mark?
The remote healing is probably a 3-day course in and of itself. One of the things that I do and that I did enjoy was sending people an imaginary construct with an intention, and the intention is that they will get whatever they want out of it regardless of what I want, right? And the construct that I used to use was, yep, there you go, Lenora, in the chat. I used to send a little rain cloud, right? I used to send people a little rain cloud, and it would follow them wherever they go, and it would rain down, whatever energy they needed, whether it was a healing energy, whether it's an uplifting energy, whether it's a joyful energy, whether it was a protective energy. And this cloud was just sent with the intention to just follow them around for a little while and be there and deliver to them whatever it is they found most necessary for the time that it was there. And you just kind of really just imagine it, and then let it go. That's the simplest way I can explain it in 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
That's a absolutely great metaphor. And I love how easy it is for people to visualize what that includes. Anybody else? Lenore.
What is the one? I don't think Hakalau is the right word for it. It's not hopo. Is it I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. But you can also add on to that, as in I love you, I'm sorry this is happening. Thank you, universe, for this healing. And
Hawaiian prayer and massage.
thank you. But what do we call it, Mike? What's the formal name for it?
It's the Hoko. You're exactly right when you said it. So
Okay.
But first of all, I want to say, wow, man, I'm really sad I missed most of this session, you guys. You guys, I have goosebumps already. Elijah, great visual.
Oh, the cloud. Yeah, listen, the cloud is really cool. I don't even tell people. That I sent it, because the intention is that they get what they want regardless of what I intend. So sometimes you'll speak to someone that you haven't spoken to for a couple of weeks, and they'll be like, the strangest things happen. I kind of started getting lucky, and I found this thing, and then this other guy called me up, and then I got this job offer, and then I had to go and do the interview, and you're like, yep, that was my little pink cloud.
Yeah,
But they never know. Yeah.
That's so cool. That really is.
One of the things that I like about that is the thought about if somebody is a best case scenario thinker or a worst case scenario thinker, I'm wondering in their mind when they brought up the concept or the context of a rain cloud, if they saw it as a blessing cloud or as a thunder cloud.
Well, they wouldn't know it because Elijah sends it without them knowing it. It's just a blessing.
But I just meant if they're listening to this recording, or if you're trying to explain something on this concept. And one of the things I want to add to this is the validation that it's completely global. You don't even have to know where the person is. Yep. And I proved it in one of David's classes on remote healing. We'd gone through this a couple of times. And this one day in particular, when we do remote healing, we always do breakout practice sessions. And this day it was groups of 2. Well, of course, it happened to be I was oddball out. Everybody else was paired up. And so David told me, well, just don't you have somebody that you can do some remote healing on? And I'd been talking with a friend of mine, and I knew that they had been dealing with sciatica pain. And so I did a quick text, and I said, what's your comfort level on your sciatica pain today? And for those that aren't familiar with that form of questioning, rather than what's your pain level, which makes people focus on the pain, and 10 is the most excruciating pain, 1 is nothing. You ask them, what is your comfort level? 10 is blissful, 1 is excruciating. And when you phrase it that way, I've found this to be very effective. It's a mind reversal, and they have to analyze what is their comfort level. And even if they are very uncomfortable, to be able to tell you that their comfort level is a 2. We've been trained that 2 is a minimal number. And they've already started the healing process.
Wow.
One of the classes that I had with Bill Anapoli talked about chronic pain and acute pain. I could get off on a full tangent on that. But back to the story. So I asked her what her comfort level was. And she told me, and I said, well, I'm going to send you a bubble of healing energy. And at the time, I thought she was in Colorado. And so I did the remote healing process and put together this ball of yellow energy healing for her sciatica, sent it off to Colorado. And I said, done, let me know when it arrives and what color shows up. And it was maybe 30 seconds later, she goes, got it, yellow energy. My comfort level went from 2 to a 9.
Wow.
I'm like, woohoo, winner, chicken dinner. And so when we were doing the debrief after that, everybody's talking about their experience. David gets to me and he goes, so what'd you do? And I explained it. And he goes, so where's this person? And I said, well, I think they're in Colorado. Let me check. No, they were in Florida. And I went, oh, so I sent this package up to Colorado and it went forward email and went all the way down to Florida and they received it anyway. So when you're looking at the concept of doing remote healing, forget about the whole idea that you have to know where they are and you have to be able to send it to them and all, it will make it there.
That goes with quantum entanglement and instantaneous adjustments.
There you go.
Well,
And
thank you all.
A couple of our viewers just went, oh? Welcome to our world. Did that help you out, Mark?
Yeah, I'm already using Elijah's visual and Lenora's visual to, you know who I'm sending the remote healing energy to right now. So,
Oh, yes, very much so.
thank
There's
you.
a lot more on the way, so don't be surprised if they're up dancing a polka tomorrow, or, maybe not, but we can visualize that as well.
I can too.
And Elijah put into the comments to make sure that on the recording, because it won't show this stuff, the most important thing about remote healing is understanding kinesthetic rapport and not getting in your own way when it comes to non-local energy flow. And there's a few people that have no idea what that means. So reach out to one of us. We'll be able to explain it to you. But Elijah was right. The remote healing class, 3 days is a
Minimum.
a touch.
Minimum.
It's a preview of coming attractions, and you
And
find out if
really,
it's something for you or not.
if I'm gonna be honest, like there are certain influence techniques and persuasion techniques that you should probably learn first
Yes.
before jumping into remote viewing or remote healing, because it's like building blocks on top of each other, and without the foundation, it's just like you can do the steps, but without that foundation, without that experiential evidence, like some people can very easily lose their belief in it.
Yeah.
And if if you're not willing to believe it before it happens, then it might not even happen for you.
Right.
Right.
And for the amount of classes that I've helped with Dr. David, um, a lot of people will get that have been to a number of his classes have a tendency to get frustrated the first day or two because he has to run the class as fast as the lowest denominator attendee. There are some people that manage to sneak in that haven't had exposure to the foundational building blocks. And it it will drag the entire class down if they're not up to speed on the foundational building blocks. So a lot of times the first day or two will be review for those that have been on Planet David for a while, just to make sure that by the time he gets to the really heavy stuff, everybody is up to speed. There he is. Yes, Elijah.
Oh, I was I was one of the ones who was getting frustrated.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was one of the ones sitting at the back of the class going, fuck's sake, we already went over this. This is not what this class is about.
Yeah.
But then to make it up to me, he taught me Kuji in on the last day, so I was okay with it by the end.
But the amount of students that I had to deal with because they wouldn't address him, they would come up to me and they're like, especially the ones that
confronting David is difficult.
Yeah. But especially the
You might
ones
get
that
your ass
had
kicked.
bought multiple packages where they were coming back and last class was only 3 weeks ago.
And some people travel like 3,000-4,000 miles around the world to come to the
Yes.
tent, right? And so I understand it was frustrating, but in the end, like I said, he did. Like, so I requested something, on the first day, he's like, what do you want to get out of this class? What do you want to get out of this? What do you want? And I always ask for something that's beyond the scope of the class. Right? Always. I always sit there and go, oh, I would like to learn this. And he's like, well, that's not what this class is for. That's the more advanced version. I'm like, I know, but I want to learn it anyway. So on the last day, he saw, there's this a friend of mine, Christine. I don't know if you know her. She's the German lady. I don't know if she ever went to the States, but she was here in the UK trainings. Two of us were actually quite miffed about certain sections that we thought we'd been promised being left out, or we just didn't have time to get to them because of the review. But he did then teach the thing that was beyond the scope of the class. So I'm not complaining. I'm very happy.
Cool.
You know what I mean? I'm not complaining because I got what I wanted out of it. Yeah. It was good stuff. David, if you ever see this, we're cool. I forgive you. Love you, dude. Miss you.
Well, I'll see him tomorrow. I'll let him know that you. I'm not going to tell him what you said. I'm just going to.
You can tell him what I said. Me and David are
message
cool.
for him.
Me and David have an understanding. We have a open. He speaks frankly to me. When I'm being a dick, he tells me I'm being a dick, and vice versa. So, I've known David like 9 years.
Yep.
So, pretty long time.
About as long as I've known you as well. I think.
Roughly the same time. Right around the time when you started doing his audio.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good times. All right, we have 25 minutes left. Did you get enough information, Mark?
Absolutely. Again, my methodology is a little different. Like I said, because I'm nonlinear, sometimes I don't need all the steps in between. I just need the outcome or the visual image to just step into it. And I've achieved some pretty remarkable results with the hands-on healing but I haven't, the remote healing was introduced to me, but it really wasn't explained in the way you guys have explained it. And that's good. Now I can move forward. I can jump to another lily pad and because I can get some results without having all the underlying stuff sometimes, and that's what makes me a mad one.
Another, oh, go ahead, Elijah, then I'll add something else too.
You don't need to know how electrical circuits work in order to flip on a light switch.
Great
And you
analogy.
don't need to know how internal combustion engines work to drive a car.
Yep.
And probably the whole time we were talking here, you weren't thinking about your keys, were you? Yet the next time it becomes relevant and it's time to use them, you'll remember the keys and how they work, won't you?
Yes.
That's right.
Well done.
And one of my clients just also validated the importance of setting the rules for the room. Their daughter went through a very serious, like that close to not being around type of surgery, and they made it very clear there was not to be any negative talk by anybody. In fact, they jumped on a couple of the doctors and the nurses. Anytime it was anything less than completely positive, that talk is not allowed in this room. And their daughter was in a medically induced coma to help them make it through this procedure. And the doctor, a couple of times, tried to talk about, well, there's a possibility for it. Unless that possibility is 100% positive, you're not talking about it in this room. They said, have you done this procedure before? The doctor was like, yes. Did that person come out healthy? Yes. Then we're done. If it's happened one time on this planet, this will be number 2. And their daughter, when they came out of coma and they were talking about it, their daughter remembered, was able to recall hearing and understanding that no negative talk was allowed in the room, even though they were in a medical coma, and was able to identify different colors of energy that was being sent to them through touch, through intention, and everything. So there's a lot to be said about this type of work should be taught in medical facilities. Doctors should be the ones that are telling the people no negative talk. Doctors should be the ones that, especially for those that are in very strong rapport with the patient, the doctors should be allowed to teach them, what would be a healing energy, what color of energy would be the most effective to heal this person. But if you're on this call, I'm sure you understand the possibility of that happening in Western medicine. And then we've got our lovely Fran joining us from across the pond.
Ask Fran. Ask Fran.
Ask Fran what? I'm sorry, I missed the earlier bits.
We were talking about remote healing. And I knew she. I literally was like, gosh, I hope she comes on. I hope she comes on. I know she's a wealth of knowledge. That's the topic that we were just talking about. And we were talking about a variety of techniques that we've used in the past. And I personally would love to hear your insights too.
Well, I love remote healing and very often find it's more powerful even doing hands-on in person, that I think when you tune into the person at a level of remote healing, you have access to so much more information about the person, about what makes them tick. And when you are doing remote healing, in my opinion, you reach that level that you can't necessarily reach face to face, that you haven't got the in-person distractions of
Well
what's
said.
going on in their energy field. You have to actually merge with them to a degree to achieve the healing, in my opinion. But everybody does it differently. And this is one of the things that I want to explore on the Australian hypnosis group's next meetup, about how people do these connections. Because things like channeling, there's people that kind of download, and there's people that step aside and let the energy use their body. So there's so many different ways of doing it. If it works, it's right. Is that enough, or do you want me to, if you've got any precise aspects that you'd like my perspective on, I'm very happy to give them.
So I'm curious, how do you get out of your own way when you're doing it?
Well, I'm not a get out of your own way person. So
Okay.
Magdalena, who's going to be on our Saturday call, is a get out of the way person. But
Magdalena Lyle, or the other Magdalena?
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
sorry,
Yeah, because we have two
Magdalena
now.
Lyle.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think it's a matter of allowing and giving up your body to this hopefully higher energy, but you make sure that it's a higher energy before you give way, before you let anything else use your being, your physicality. And I'm sure Magdalena will explain how she does it, but I'm somebody that remains in my body while I'm receiving the energy, or allowing the energy to flow over me and through me, rather than actually stepping out of the way of the energy, if that makes sense to people who aren't actually channeling normally in their everyday lives.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to 16 minis left. We can either continue with remote healing, or if anybody has another question or topic. Yes, Fran.
Well, a lot of this merges into everything else, because it merges into state control. It merges into all the hypnosis we do, if you allow it. I believe it's enormously enriching. That again, you can not only channel higher intelligences, but you can, in my opinion, channel states as well. And I mean, you've all had experience of doing that in one way or another, channeling states. And, you know, where do you draw the line between deciding to do something and channeling something? There's a very thin line where one merges into the other, and where expanded awareness merges into remote viewing. So, you know, starting with the physical and doing expanded awareness exercises like, you know, expanding your peripheral vision, it actually creates that doorway between reality and imagination. And that doorway is the place where channeling can be accessed easily, even by people that don't find it natural to do. So this is where I feel the power point is, in that interface between reality and imagination. And my current choice of everyday channeling is to channel joyfulness. And it's so easy to get caught up in the everyday world and think all the things that you don't want, where you need to keep your focus where you do want to feel the joy, and keep reminding yourself to bring in that joyfulness. And when you feel the high energies like joyfulness and bliss, that's when channeling happens so easily. It's like breathing. It's being one with the universe. This is why people use ayahuasca and to reach these points of bliss. And it comes down to our basic instincts towards pleasure and away from pain. So if the blissful states of channeling give you pleasure, why wouldn't you?
100%. Real quick, Elijah asked me something in the chat, and he's got a class that he would like to share with you guys, but I want to also put on record, this is a community thing. If you guys have a class or an event, or even Fran, you have such an amazing get together for people to practice, please share that on here. I want to make this a place where as many of our people as possible can get something from it, can expand. If you've got people that you know of that you could invite to here, this is not about me. This is about us. This is about the community. This is about being able to help as many people as possible. So, Elijah, if you'd like to, and
Thank you. So on Sunday, this coming Sunday, I will be teaching a class about the present moment and being in the now, and using that as a resource state to not escape, but to deal with and to let go of painful past memories and future, anxieties and things like that, and how you don't need to be defined by what happened to you in the past, and how you don't need to make choices based on what you fear may or may not happen in the future. And so I would like to invite everybody here who's attending right now to that class. I'm going to put a Zoom link in the chat in just a moment, and you are more than welcome to. It's going to be at 6 p.m. UK time on Sunday, which is 1 p.m. Eastern and 10 a.m. Pacific, right? If my math is correct. And you're all welcome to join. There is a link there in the chat right now. It's going to be, it's called Present-Minded Techniques for Living in the Now. And the reason I was reminded is Fran was just talking about like peripheral vision and expanded awareness. And that's one of the things we will talk about a little bit that does help bring you into the present and externalize your experience. So you're not so much in your head. And that's kind of what reminded me. So thank you, Fran, for reminding me. Thank you, TJ, for allowing me to share. And I hope to see as many of you there, if you're able to come, if the time is agreeable for you. And if not, also, I will. So I use an app called Telegram. I'm sure many of you have heard of it.
yes,
I've just put in the chat there also my personal telephone number
We got
that
your
I use
digits.
on Telegram. Okay. If you're not able to make it to the class, shoot me a text through Telegram. I'll add you to our group, and then the replay will be available for those who weren't able to make it. Right. So you can watch the replay of the video if you're not able to make it. All right. We'll do that too.
and for those of you that are not aware, that is money right there. That the wealth of knowledge that just got presented, please make it if you can. I will do my best. And Fran, if at any time you want to promote your guys' meetup, please, this goes for anybody on the call. If you've got anything that will help advance this community, and if you want to invite people, please do. This isn't about me again. Lenora's got her hand up.
So I just wanted to say a couple of things. Before I started attending Triple T, before I got to know everybody, I definitely had this perception that, like, no, they wouldn't want me in their group. I know nothing. I can't help them at all. They're on a totally different level. And every single person who has been within this hypnosis group, this NLP group, Triple T, everybody in all their groups, they've been nothing but truly arms open and welcoming to every single question and every single time that they were doing something. And it's so, 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 so beautiful. And somebody had said to me at HypnoThoughts this weekend, and they said that the group of people that were there, they're empathic, and they're wanting to grow, and they're wanting to learn, and they're wanting to help people, and that it really resonated with me. And they said that because I was amongst my tribe, like I was amongst people that got it, that got me. And it was such a beautiful thing for this person to share with me. And that really is what this group is like. So if you have questions or you'd like to talk with somebody, I do keep my eyes open on the YouTube channel during Triple T. And if you don't feel comfortable coming into the Zoom room, just message on the live and I'll send you a message. But if this calls to you, by all means, reach out and just ask a little bit for like an email or something, and come to the party, because the door is always open.
Perfectly said. I endorse everything you said.
Thank you.
One of the best things that ever happened to me was running into Dr. David, which introduced me to all of this stuff and allowed me to be here with you guys and some of the most amazing people I know on this planet are from this community. So, whoop, whoop. Well, we've got 7 minis according to the Tiki Talk. Who's got something we can quickly close up with?
You had me right up until quickly, and I don't know.
You and me both, brother. That was one of the hardest things for me to do my talk on here. Was I had 50 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I can do that easily. I had to throttle myself back and try to make it as much bullet point situation as possible. And I was lucky enough, big shout out to Tracy Cannon and her husband Doug, who fully came through, oh my goodness, and videotaped my talk. And so I'm going to be able to download it, and they've got it on the internet, so I can actually, once I figure out what the link is, I can share that with you guys if you're at all interested in watching my talk and giving me some feedback. Fran's got her hand up. What's up, Fran?
Oh, that after you finish your section, but I was going to jump back to the channeling aspect and the healing aspect and I think this is interfacing with what Elijah's about to share, which is projecting positives into your future and making sure that you're moving into the future that you want. And it's just a shift in thinking and projections. Are you projecting into now, or are you projecting into the future? Because time is a construct that we don't necessarily have to look at in the linear manner. And just as hypnotists and Elijah has the ability to go back and make the past, not necessarily defining who they are now, going back and changing the past and changing the future. And we have this powerful ability of our unconscious mind to change so much. And we do have the energy with channeling of projecting all these positives into the future. And it works. You know, you're going into a difficult situation that you've been dreading and biting your fingernails at. And if you project positives into that future that maybe you're dreading, you don't have the difficult time that you thought you were going to have. So why wouldn't you?
You want to know what is so amazing about what you just said, Fran? Anybody out here on this call real quick? Throw a hands up if you think she was listening in secretly earlier, even though she wasn't in on the call. We had been discussing that, and you just validated all the stuff we talked about, just like that. Now, awesome timing, perfect. Mark's got his hand up quick.
Want you to know that I'm feeling my tribe, and I'm sending out beautiful purple positive energy. So if you're receiving that, know that the love that I have for you guys manifesting, and I'm channeling it right now. Thank you for all your help.
All right. Anybody else feeling all the feels that I'm enjoying right now? Awesome. And Mike, you're welcome. I'm going to share that super quick. Mike just sent me a quick little direct message, and I hope you're okay with me sharing this, Mike, but he decided to try my surprise special deal for sushi and said he had an amazing adventure and had options that came out, sashimi with octopus, razor clam, seared black pepper tuna, and salmon caviar. And yes, thank you for sharing that it worked out, because life's an adventure, man. Last night we went to all you could eat sushi, and it was so funny because the people at the table were like, well, what do you want to order? And they were picking out what they wanted, and they got to me, and I'm like, whatever. Like, you guys can pick. They're like, well, no, really, what do you want? I want surprise special. If you see something on there that you're not sure you want to try, order that. Then you can try it. If you don't like it, I'll eat the rest. They're like, really? I went, yep. But what if you don't like it? I went, it's sushi. I'm pretty sure I'll be fine. Elijah. Oh, I thought you were putting your hand
I
up.
was just scratching the beard, bro.
Oh, no, I just wanted to make sure because.
But thanks.
Yeah, kind of like being
I'm very appreciative that you're forever watching that I want to contribute.
kind of like being at the auction.
Right.
And number 35. You're like,
No, I didn't bid 150,000.
Just waving at my friend. But great way to end the end number 134 with a laugh. Thank you guys so much, coming to you live from Vegas. Proof that I don't have many excuses. I can get here. I will do my best to always try to be here to open up this platform. I know that I've had help from a number of you to make sure that this keeps going, even when there's no way that I can get in. So with that being said, I will close as I always do. Thank you so much for offering up your precious commodity of time, Because again, I still haven't figured out how to reproduce it. You guys will be some of the first ones on the planet, I promise, as soon as I figure out how to do that. But until then, again, thank you for offering up your precious commodity of time for this platform. I don't have the words to express all of the gratitude that I have for you guys. I love every one of you with all my being. So until next week when we get to do this all over again, please go out, live the best life you can, make the world a better place as you always do. Smile, laugh, be nice to each other. Bye.
Hey,
Thank
JJ,
you,
thank you very much.
everyone.
Have fun in Vegas, y'all.